Hello there survivors and welcome back to ARK Survival Ascended. Today I'm gonna show you my best builds on Extinction, ranging from wasteland builds using the new wasteland structures of course that were released as part of the Bob Talltales DLC with Extinction, including some cool shipping containers, a crane build and an old abandoned factory. But we also have a lot of modern builds, all-in-one A-frames, small A-frame starter bases, rooftop bases, you name it. And I've also of course rebuilt some ruins in glorious big bases easily ready to move into, and of course a few more bases here and there, including what is now my favorite new steampunk design right at the end. If you want to see any of these builds in more detail, make sure to check out the rest of the videos on my channel. There should be dedicated tours to pretty much all of these builds that will go over everything in much more detail than I will today. And of course, if you want to build any of these bases for yourself, most of these, if not all of them, should have full build tutorials on my channel as well. The easiest way is to check out the build tutorial playlist. As always, of course, if you enjoy seeing these builds and you want to see more, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and feel free to leave your build suggestions down in the comments below. For me, Extinction of course started by exploring what we could build with the new wasteland structures that were part of the Bob Talltales DLC. Some people didn't like them, some people do really like them, and I think they're a really fun way to build some post-apocalyptic feeling builds. So I started with some of these storage or shipping containers, trying to stack them up on top of each other in different ways to get some cool looking bases that actually are not that difficult to build, because I mean they're still just boxes, they just look a little bit nicer, and they can make for some great early game bases as well as some decorations for later game bases, or just if you want a really cool post-apocalyptic feeling base. Especially if you combine it with the crane design that I did later on, which really takes it to the next level, with of course the whole build being integrated with the garage for the battle rigs. And even having one of the shipping containers dangle in front of the crane, making it all feel very much alive and connected. It was a really fun project to be working on, and one that I also used in the Monarchy season I was a part of for extra decoration around my base. My shipping container and crane base are located right here on the map. So here we go, we have both the shipping container build as well as the crane build over there, and we'll take a quick look at them if you haven't seen them before. As I said, I really like the dynamic of these shipping containers being stacked on top of each other, which just really gives you the opportunity to play with different shapes and therefore making it all look a little bit nicer. But there are also of course good natural barriers to kind of block off areas, or like I did over here, kind of create some kind of gateway into your base. You could use the spikes of course as added defenses, and now you kind of have to go through here to enter the base grounds, and then you kind of already feel that security. You definitely feel that post-apocalyptic feel, and yeah, you can have some pretty roomy builds inside, of course, plenty of storage. Early game this would be great because you can also bring in most of your early game tames. You of course have multiple boxes to use and to apply to whatever you need, so you can use some of them maybe just as like dedicated dino pens with not much else inside except for your tames. You can of course build on top of them as well, utilizing those spaces, adding your defenses, and of course getting all the little cozy things for your tribe as well as of your respawn points inside, and utilizing every little bit of room that you have on these ones. And yeah, even placing some of the bigger builds. Oh yeah, they changed the windmills, so now mine are completely broken, but that's totally fine. I still really like this build, and I think it's a great addition, great way to start out, especially if you want to embrace the wasteland theme here on Extinction. It's a really cool one, and I still really like the way these came out, and of course especially with the addition of the crane, having the floating shipping container. I've added an extra one here as some extra decor here. Of course we have the crane build, which is mostly the battle rig garage that we have going on here with some extra decoration around, as well as a big storage room in the back over here. And I had plans to expand this even further. I added a trade station here to the side. I was going to do like a whole industrial region. Didn't really end up having enough time to get all of that done, but maybe it can inspire you for a future base. And the crane is definitely a very fun base. Besides having the storage and the battle rig down there, you see you have some space for crafting stations out here, which means they're very easily accessible, of course, dropping off your tames. The only thing is, of course, you do not have a lot of privacy here, but that should be fine depending on what kind of server, or maybe you're just playing single player. And then of course you have your main rooms up here in the crane itself. You can utilize the top of the build, of course, but most importantly you have a nice roomy base to use inside of the crane, where you can log out safely, respawn if you need to, well, not too easily get up here by the ladder. And then we created this invisible walkway. You would need flyers or a tech suit to easily get in here, or just grappling hooks. So I guess you could also just shoot your grapple from your crossbow, get in here, and then do whatever you want in here. So maybe less people will be visiting whatever you have in there. And then of course you can use the zip lines to actually have some extra cables as cool details as well, which is always a really cool touch. And yeah, there we go. That is a really cool post-apocalyptic feeling base using the wasteland structures and yeah, the battle rig garage to make a really cool and unique build, I think. This base is very dear to my heart. I designed this early on with the wasteland structures in mind. I really wanted to make this old abandoned factory build, and I'm very happy that I did. In fact, I liked it so much that I later ended up using this in survival on the Monarchy season, and it was an amazing survival base. I can honestly say you do have enough space for your storage. You can raise some tames in there. You can have your garage in there, and of course, especially if you expand it more, you can make it into a fully fledged base, of course with the tribe tower included in this build, which is a really nice and unique way to use it, kind of like it is a chimney, which is a fun design. And yeah, I'm just really happy with the way this one turned out. Of course, this version specifically has a lot of the wasteland skins to make it a little bit more old feeling, but we also have the steampunk skins for some of the pillars, as well as the frontier skins mostly for the windows. And I've used some other custom cosmetics like the factory one, and I decorated with the steampunk mod to get some extra additional pies, but definitely not necessary. You should be able to build this with official in mind too. My old abandoned factory base is located right here on the map. And yeah, here we are. I really like this factory build. I enjoyed using this as a base. You have a spot for your tribe tower. You have multiple spots for gachas, because you have this room, which I now am using as a smelter, but you could definitely also just use this for your gachas and have the smelter inside, especially if you go for the steam one. But you can also, of course, have the industrial one right there. I had all my storage here over on one side, which definitely gives you a nice bit of room. Of course, I'm using visual storage, but you could easily just have your vaults or dedicated storage on that side, of course. You have the connecting way to where the forge was just now, and the tribe tower. We have a lot of room inside, and you have these doors to the side. In this case, I placed a little platform in front, but depending on the landscape, you might just be able to walk in and out straight away with these. That was the case on Monarchy for me, and that way you can easily get in and out with your gathering tames without having any issues, or fly in with your RG carrying something and drop it off right in there so you can move it into your storage. I really like the way this looks. Of course, this one is painted with the normal stone walls, just painting them in a nice color to get this brick. And then we have our chimneys, both the normal chimneys that we build, as well as the chimneys using the Steampunk Deco mod, which is really cool, but definitely not necessary if you're playing without mods. And yeah, I built it on top of one of these little water outlets, which really adds a nice little touch to the build as well. Really like this one. There's plenty of space on the inside too. So you have your garage right here as one of the key features with a little building on top. You have plenty of options for all your crafting stations to the side here. We have, of course, the big smelter in there, the forge in there. We have the grinder in here. We have a little hatching spot in this corner. We have some fridges around as well. Your cryos or your crafting stations. And then if you make your way all the way up here, we have a little kitchen area here as well. That you can utilize, of course, and then you have all these walkways inside of the factory for all different sides. There is definitely a lot of space, and if you wanted to, of course, you could make bigger floors instead of just the walkways, so you could utilize even more of this space if you need it. And yeah, you can get quite a lot inside here. You can see there's still a lot of space left. Then of course we have the sleeping quarters in here where you could have all your respawns. You can have a little bit of your personal storage in here, kind of the overseeing offices, of course. And then here on top I added in a teleporter, but you can do pretty much anything you want. You have a lot of space to work with, and you do get a really cool build, and it's definitely a very nice base to use. For once, I can speak of personal experience. Of course, in my case, I kind of made a little bit of these broken windows looking like they've been boarded up, and some of them have been completely broken, but you can also go for a more intact build if you need to. But yeah, it's definitely looking really, really nice. I think I really loved working on this, and I think this is a really nice base to use for your Extinction playthrough, or honestly anywhere else, but it just felt appropriate for Extinction somehow to have a nice old factory. Extinction, of course, also brought us some new ruins in the snow biome, in the snow dome. Two of those I have rebuilt, the big ruins that are kind of like old bunkers, or I don't know what kind of structures, but this one we kind of renovated in the sense of yeah, a little bit of a bunker feeling place, using mostly the Klingers concrete custom cosmetics, which are really, really nice, and turned it into a nice modern concrete feeling base, which has a lot to offer, a lot of space as well, and of course just a really cool unique design. And it was kind of refreshing because I love rebuilding ruins, but this one was a lot more modern feeling, of course, which kind of gives you a big change in build styles and definitely gets you a really cool and unique base without having to do too much of the work. Actually, most of the work is just making sure your foundations fit in everywhere, and yeah, you can utilize every bit of space for your own personal needs. This snow rune base is located right here on the map. And here we go, we are here at this lovely base. As you can see, it's quite a big one. It's a big ruin, of course, and it offers quite a bit. We have the garage out here, just in case you want to utilize some battle rigs. We also place down some gateways around this little corridor here, so you can utilize the space maybe as a dino pen for your bigger tames if you want to keep them safe. But of course, the main event is the build itself. It has a few layers. You have the first layer down there, of course, then you have a very big layer in the middle, and then you have the entirety of the roof, as well as the little building up there, which we utilized as a greenhouse. You have your own city terminal. I don't know if that's already working, actually, because it never used to be working. It still doesn't seem to be working. I don't know if that's just me, or they still haven't fix that, or it's not supposed to work maybe, but it looks like a city terminal and it looks like it's supposed to be working. But anyway, we've got a nice ruin here to call home, and it is definitely quite a cool and big base that you can build inside. Of course, you've got the walkway up to the entrance, so we made a little bit of the wasteland feeling entrance here by using the big hangar doors that were also introduced with the Extinction update. We got some turrets to protect us, of course. Then we have the dino pen area, so this would be where you can still keep some of your tames. You've got a teleporter to easily get inside. We have, of course, some hay decoration, which is from the Western decoration commode. We have, of course, the feeding trough. We have plenty of cryos. We have the new bio grinder as well as anything else you might expect in your dino pen. Then we have the lovely balcony with our transmitter and a lovely view of the rest of the snow dome. And it's actually a really cool and nice view. Definitely one of the better places if you want to go for a snow base. And of course, the advantage for Extinction is that for some reason the snow doesn't seem to affect structures, so that is quite nice, because then it doesn't look like there's snow everywhere inside of your base. Now, if we continue, we have the big staircase all the way up to the next layer. We have a lovely little cozy kitchen area here with some nice big windows to still let in plenty of light, as well as being able to enjoy the view around the base. We have some dermises here on display to kind of just showcase some cool tames. We have a big hatching area here as well, a room of fridges for your eggs, etc., your blueprints in the library, little hangout spots, places for your artifacts, and another lovely balcony for your flyers, or just to enjoy the view once again, including a nice little fire pit, of course, to utilize as well. And then we have much more on this layer, because this is actually the main layer of the base. So we go into the crafting and storage room. So we have all the crafting facilities that we might need, including the replicator. We've got the steam forge here. We've got this lovely see-through ceiling as well that lets you see whatever approaches your front gate. We have a nice balcony here to the side to kind of just add something on the side of the building and utilize a little bit of extra space. We have the storage system. Again, I'm using visual storage. Of course, the clock to boost it all. And then we have the bedrooms, the respawn points, the sleeping tech pods, and as well as a little bit of personal storage and just a little cozy place to hang out in your luxurious villa here. And then we have another nice area to go to. If we take the stairs all the way up, we get to the big roof. So definitely a lot of place here to park your flyers or have a tribe tower. I used to have a tribe tower here, but of course you can only have one, so I have moved it to the factory when I built that. And then this building up here we rebuilt to be the greenhouse. Now, it unfortunately doesn't have the full effectiveness everywhere, but it's still a nice and convenient place to utilize a greenhouse. If you want to grow some plants, you might want to grow some plants for your gadgets, for example. You have plenty of space up here to utilize and to do you much good. This was a really fun project. I did this quite early on after launch, and this was a really fun one to do. We did it live on stream, and I think it turned out really cool. Definitely a really cool base, and definitely one that I considered picking as my main base on Monarchy as well, because it's just a really cool one to build. If you want to go for an easy base, definitely early on it's easy, because as soon as you start laying down foundations, you can start using the base because you already kind of have some shelter. So there we go. But what's better than one of the snow ruins? That is, of course, another snow ruin. And this one is actually even bigger than the first one. This is a huge build if you want to take this on. I definitely do not think you will be able to pull this off to this extent on official, because just rebuilding the layers that are already here takes a lot of structures, and then also building something cool on top to make it look nice takes a lot more. But we did this one on stream as well, and I do think it turned out really cool. So we went a little bit more for the modern base take here instead of going for the same concrete look we used for the other one. So we've rebuilt all the different layers, including a big basement that you can utilize as your dino pen, and this has been designed as some kind of a breeding facility. So there's lots of space where you can do all sorts of breeding and separate different creatures in different areas for you to breed them. So this would be a great place if you're a big breeding tribe. The big snow ruin base is located right here on the map. So yeah, we have a lot of the areas, of course, all rebuilt, big windows to enjoy the views, and we have some cool builds on top, including an A-frame, which is the aviary for all of your flying friends. So let's take a quick look around this one, because this one, as you can clearly see, is a big one. And we'll start right away underground. We have some big behemoth gates here on this side to enter the premises from below. So here we have the dino pen, where you can even have your biggest thames inside. You can have a nice garage as well if you want to use your battle rigs. You can of course breed here, hatch new creatures, and easily keep them all safe down below your base. Entrances on both sides. We have some windows to still enjoy a little bit of the view, as well as some skylights to bring us as much light as possible down here, which is always a good one, of course. And then we have here the main entrance to the actual base. We have the Hall of Cryos, because if you're a breeding tribe, you probably want to sort all your creatures in different cryos. As well, of course, you can use this space as another breeding room, because you basically have so much space here. Every room can be turned into some breeding. This was the one corner where we could not build because of the Titan area being right next door, so it wouldn't let me build here, even on my own server with all the settings that normally would allow building. But yeah, we have plenty of space. We have a replicator here. Then we get into the hallway system of the first layer here, and we have different breeding bays. So this is a pyromane breeding bay. We have another one over here that's currently not in use. We have another one here. And then we have a bigger one here at the end with some tech rexes being bred up, hatching areas, fridges. We have the gene and trait stuff. We have, of course, cryos everywhere at hand, so you can go all out with your breeding projects. We have some more over here. In this case, we have some rock directs. You can see there's a lot of space, so even bigger tames you would easily be able to breed inside. We have another breeding bay here, and then actually on this side, this big room, we turned into another breeding bay, but this one is for the biggest among us. It is for your dreadnoughts, but even those, you can see, you can fit inside, even settled up. The tails might poke through the walls, of course, but you can even breed those big bastards in here as well. And yeah, you have all the space to move around, of course. Before we go up, let's go back to the middle, because we also have our courtyard in here. We've got a wyvern parked here, full size. But yeah, this courtyard is meant so that you can easily fly into the base and basically enter the layer that you might want to, because you might want to enter in this layer. I don't think there's not a way to get into the second layer quickly, but yeah, at least it means you don't have to land up here, walk all the way back down. But if you do take the stairs up, you come to the next layer. We have the bio grinder standing ready here with a hatching spot next to it and some sheep lined up. We have more breeding or kibble making going on right here. We have a little kitchen area as well with plenty of storage for all your food or kibble needs. And then we have, of course, access here to the side, which is kind of the personal room where you and your tribe can log out, some personal cryos, personal storage, and a nice big window to enjoy your views as well. And you can see the dreadnoughts from here as well, and you have the staircase to get to them quickly if you want to. Then we got the hallways, just kind of connecting everything to each other, hallways going up here as well. And if you go back around, you get back to where we just began for this layer. We have a little bit more kitchen area here, which is more meant for the kibble creation that you can do here as well. We got some lovely dodos, and we have a nice big balcony. So if you want to park on this layer, get in with your flyers for this specific layer, you can fly right into this balcony and access the layer from here. Now, if we do take the hallway to this way, this is the main crafting and storage room. So we have a lot of dedicated storage here, all the needed crafting facilities, as well as a teleporter to easily get inside. We have lovely views of the snow dome biome. You can see the river down there, the obelisk and everything. And you might even spot a Titan fight in the distance if someone's taking that on. So yeah, really nice spot. All your crafting in one place. And then if we follow the hallway, of course, we get back there. But we can also take the stairs up to the next layer, where we get to the A-frame aviary, where your birds will have an amazing view of the surrounding area. You can, of course, add multiple layers in. We have the big hangar door here as well to fly in and out of, so you can easily get even some bigger flies in here if you want to. Then we have the upper courtyards where you can park more of your flyers. We have the greenhouse here as well, as you can see, so you can grow some plants, and of course just more hallways connecting this also. Yeah, I think you will be finding it very difficult to run out of space out here, but yeah, you should have pretty much everything that you would need. And you have still a big roof here as well, with maybe some small spots for parking flies if you need to. And just for security, you know, we added one of these right on the corner if someone does spawn the Titan and you're a little bit nervous about getting to your base, maybe, you know, even though I mean, I don't think it would, but just a little Easter egg to be as extra support. There we go. And yeah, that is the big snow ruin completely rebuilt. This was a very big project, very fun, however, to take on and to turn into an amazing big breeding base that yeah, definitely should have enough space for all of your breeding projects. And next up is my nice little A-frame base that I built on one of the rooftops of the sanctuary on Extinction. And yeah, this one is just a really nice base. It's not too big, definitely could be used as an early game starter base with a nice small A-frame as the basis, and of course a little build out section to the side, so you have a decent amount of space to be working with. Depending, of course, a lot on custom cosmetics to make a very nice and clean look. And maybe if it's your mission to rebuild the city to its former glory, this could be a really nice house for you. Mostly for me, I just wanted to do an A-frame build again. I did it, of course, in the snow ruin, but then I was kind of feeling that tingle again, trying to build some different A-frame designs. My small A-frame base is located right here on the map. So yeah, this is quite a nice cozy little base, but yeah, you should find a decent amount of space still to be utilized. Not really any space to keep your tame safe, but if you're building on one of these rooftops, as soon as you make sure that nothing can spawn anymore, you should be relatively safe, so you shouldn't have to worry too much, and you can just park your dinos that you need to leave out next to your building on one of these layers. But yeah, for the base itself, we have a nice little entrance here with a nice little bit of storage and crafting right away. We have a travel station, which is modded, of course, but for the rest we have our generator, we have a teleporter, then we get the main room with the forge and everything and all the other crafting needs, as well as your taming needs. We have a little bit of dedicated storage in here as well. You know, we're the high-tech era, so even if you start early on, you might be able to live here for a little bit longer and transform it into a little bit more of a later game base. Then we can, of course, take the stairs up to the next layer. We have a lovely little kitchen area for you to hang out with nice balconies on both sides, so you can check out the views around you, especially if you've built up high like this on top of a building. You can easily enjoy some incredible views of the city. Or, of course, if you're building it on the maps, you can have totally different views. But I always like a good balcony. And, of course, you could park a flyer up here, so you have easy access to that. And then we do have a little bedroom up here as well. So we have our bed or a tech sleeping pod as well. A little bit of personal storage and a cryo fridge to kind of utilize all the things you might need when logging out. So yeah, it's not big, it's not much, but I do think it's a really nice and clean design for a cool modern home. When I was back with the A-frame virus, I decided to build another A-frame base. This one is a little bit bigger, so it's meant to be an all-in-one base, or at least one that should give you plenty of space for most things that you need. Quite a good spot as well. This is what I ended up using as my monarchy base location. And yeah, you have a nice big A-frame for your crafting needs, your storage, as well as your living quarters. And then the side building with a behemoth cellar door turned sideways, of course, with this Extinction update, so you can still bring in your bigger tames. And then off to the side, we actually also built a little modern garage in a similar style. So yeah, you could definitely utilize and combine some of these buildings. The all-in-one A-frame base and the modern garage are located right here on the map. There we go. So yeah, we have a nice big A-frame with these modern looks. Yeah, with the custom cosmetics, of course, you can get some really clean and cool looking designs out here. And yeah, people always seem to be wanting more A-frames, so we have a few more designs here. And of course, we have the side building here, so you have some more space for all of your breeding projects. So yeah, we go inside through the cellar door. We have what you might expect for like a breeding room, plenty of cryos. We got a teleporter as well. We have a tech giga here for the size comparison, so you can see they do fit inside. And for the rest, we have nice big windows to let in plenty of light and to be able to enjoy the views all the way around us. And then everything that we need for the breeding and hatching of creatures is right around here. We have a grinder over here as well. We have a bio grinder as well, placed into the ground layer so that it is nice and flush. We have a normal big gate here to get in some tames, but not all of them, of course. We have your forge here, your dedicated storage, and the replicator out here to make sure that you have all the crafting needs nicely in one place. We have some libraries for your blueprints, some storage here. You have your fridges as well, and then we have a little kitchen area on the other side. Still plenty of room, so you can easily bring in tames or add more if you need more storage, for example. And then we have a staircase leading up here. We have a few more crafting stations here, as well as a little bit of extra storage, and then some sleeping tech pods at both ends, as well as some nice chairs to relax in if you want to. So yeah, it's kind of everything you need. You still see there's a lot of space, there's a lot of openness still to this, so if you do end up building this one, you definitely have some freedom to play around with your own interiors and whatever you want or need inside of the base. And as I said, we also build a modern garage here to the side, of course, utilizing the garages on the inside. We actually have two of them right there, then hidden the top layer before we build the rest around it. Nice big window at the back to appreciate the waterfall in this case. Also a nice window to the side to appreciate the views of the surroundings. And of course, two big gates which are using the hangar doors, so you can easily drive in and out here with your battle rig. And then for the top layer, we decided to keep it quite open, so you can use it as a little aviary, flying in and out with some of your flyers and parking them safely up there as well. And then just painting the roof actually to get a nice texture, because not all the time there's good textures for ramps and stuff like that in cosmetics. So kind of found that this was the best option to go with. But yeah, there we go. You have a nice modern garage, as well as of course the all-in-one A-frame base right here to utilize as a really cool modern looking base. With Extinction, of course, came the addition of barn doors as well as hangar doors, but for this one specifically, of course, being barn doors, I felt like it was appropriate to build another nice barn. The iconic red barn, we built one on Scorched Earth, of course, using the Frontier skins, but now with the new barn doors, you can get one in a little bit more appropriate size, because before, if you wanted big creatures to be able to go inside, you would need a behemoth gate, which is very, very tall, and that instantly turns your building into something which is huge. Now, with a behemoth hangar door or barn door, you can get away with a little bit of a smaller blueprint, and that's what this build is. I do think it looks really nice. I love the textures for the frontier skins on these barn doors as well. They look really good, and of course with some paint you can get that nice iconic red barn, and that is what we did over here. So yeah, this is really meant as like a nice breeding barn or just a nice safe dino pen for your creatures. My western barn base is located right here on the map. So if we take a quick look around, you can see, of course, the nice iconic design here, utilizing the frontier skins. We also made some like little hanging systems here at the front to load in the hay, which is from the Western Deco mod. We have our creatures around here. You have some room for your flies up here as part of the aviary. I actually see that I parked my Ryanatha here, but it can also fly through this hole as I think I originally parked it in. We can open the door to let in some light, but yeah, you can see cartridges do fit inside, so you can even have some of your taller creatures in here. For the rest, it is meant to be a breeding barn, so there's plenty of space for all different sizes of creatures. You've got cryos around, you've got hatching spots like this. We got some UTs here in the corner. We have a little bit of a breeding station in this corner over here. We have some fridges out here as well, and of course feeding troughs. And then we have some ladders if you want to climb your way up back to your flyers. And then the flyers do have some nice windows so they can appreciate the view of the outside and the surrounding area, which just makes for a nice cozy little build. And yeah, just one that I really wanted to do because of the new addition of the barn doors. And I think this is definitely a nice, cool design. Might be very useful once again on Ragnarok if you want to meet your bison friend in a nice, appropriate manner. Time for another modern base, this one built on another rooftop of Extinction in the sanctuary, utilizing a cliff platform as the base for the shape. Although you can definitely also build this without having a cliff platform and just building on top of the ground. So it's a big circular base with different layers, big and small, for all of your crafting needs, storage needs, a little bit of breeding, as well as of course your personal quarters, and definitely some spots for your flyers, of course, because you will need to fly up to a base like this, especially if you do have it on top of a rooftop like I did. My rooftop base is located right here on the map. And here we go. We've built it around this lovely pool area, which is a really nice spot. And yeah, you have some good views of the sanctuary here, and you have a lovely pool, so plenty of water. And we used a cliff platform here as the base space, so you have a nice walkway around it to park maybe some of your flyers or maybe other creatures, although you probably want to cryo them if you take them around, but I mean, you could just carry them around, I suppose. Whatever floats your boat. And then we go to the inside of the base. So here we have a nice little area to hang out, but we also have our kitchen, a little hatching spot, a little bit of storage, your fridges, everything. And of course, the most important room, we've got a toilet here as well. Then we can take the stairs up to the next layer, which brings us to the main crafting room. So we have all the different crafting stations, including the replicator up here, the forge. Everything fits neatly inside. And of course, we have a lot of storage here, the dedicated storage, a little bit of normal storage as well, but most of that is downstairs. Of course, you could add more if you wanted to. You do have still plenty of space around, and you do have a little walkway on the outside as well. Not very big, so more just for walking and not really to do anything else, but you also have big windows to enjoy the view around the base. And then we have another staircase leading us up to the next and final layer, where we have a big walk around again. So this is definitely a spot you could park some of your flyers as well. You still have the amazing views of your surroundings, and then you have another big room for maybe your own bedroom, and you can have your respawn point. In this case we have a tech sleeping pod, and we have of course a little bit of cryo fridges, personal storage and everything. But you can see there's still definitely plenty of space here, so if you need more space and you need to, you know, fill it up a little bit more, there's definitely a lot left. I kind of kept it very clean, aesthetically pleasing for this one, but yeah, it's a fun design. Taking a circular shape of a cliff platform makes it a little bit easier, of course, because as soon as you can place a cliff platform somewhere on the edge, that you can have half built on top of the cliff platform, half just foundations on the ground, you can get away with a lot in a lot smaller footprint. But as I said, you don't really need the cliff platform. If you find a nice flat spot, you can just build the circular building without needing it to be on a platform. We're back in the snow region of Extinction, and this place is lovely. It's absolutely beautiful. You have this amazing river flowing down from the lake near the obelisk, and it just is a picture perfect area. So I figured, let's build a nice log cabin alongside the river here, and that's what I did, utilizing some cool design choices with the side bits slightly overlapping both on top of the roof of the normal building as well to the side, which creates some nice parking spots for maybe some smaller creatures. You can have a few creatures inside that main part of the building, maybe some gachas, maybe just some of your early game tames, and then of course you have the main log cabin as your home, as well as a little shed to the side, maybe to grow some plants or just to keep some extra storage. My log cabin in the snow is located right here on the map. So here we go. We have the little log cabin. There's a nice little weather effect, which sometimes makes it hard to see where it is, which I kind of only realized halfway through the building process. But yeah, we have a nice little cabin. You can see some places here along the side for your flyers. I also added a little dock as a little extra area out here to utilize this beautiful river landscape. Especially these views up here are incredible to look at, which is definitely why I chose to build here. We've got these nice overlaps on the side of the building. This is something that I think I met on my community servers, and then they told me that they would love to see my take on what I would do with this. But yeah, I think it does provide a nice opportunity to basically have a little bit of an extra sheltered place for some of your tames to be parked. It's definitely a nice design option to really change the shape of the building, because otherwise we would only have the steeper roof, and now we have these ramps to kind of smooth down the shape of the entire roof there. Then if we go inside, we have a little bit of a dino pen utilized for the gachas right now. You can just about fit those in. So even if you build this simple log cabin, you do have at least one spot for your gachas, but we also have all the requirements needed for a good dino pen. All your breeding needs are inside. Then we get into the main bit of the building. We have our storage with our vaults lined up above each other. And we have a lovely little porch out here with some smelting options, as well as a staircase down into the grounds, and in this case to the best view of the place. Then we have, of course, more crafting and storage all along this floor, as well as, of course, a little bit more visually pleasing storage, which isn't necessarily very practical, of course. And then we have a porch back here as well to go to the other side, and it is connected back to the side there as well. Then, of course, we can go upstairs. We have a little living quarters here, some nice areas to hang out, as well as a crafting spot here on the balcony to enjoy that magnificent view, and also a little spot to hang out. Plenty of water around too. We have a little kitchen here on the other side of this room to utilize for all your cooking needs. And then upstairs here we have our actual bedroom, so we have a cozy little place at the fire, but more importantly, or bed to respawn in or to log out in. And yeah, this makes for a nice cozy cabin in my opinion, utilizing mostly just the vanilla structures, a little bit of the frontier skin, but mostly it's all just base game stuff. And then of course we have the little shed here to the side, which is in my case utilized as a very small greenhouse that is here on the side of the building. Not actually, of course, giving you greenhouse effect, but I don't really mind that usually in my playthroughs. And yeah, we have some crops growing here, of course, connected to the main crafting room and storage room right over here as well. My latest addition to Extinction was actually this steampunk base, which I really do enjoy the look of. Now, you can build the entire base without needing any mods. Of course, I did add some mods as decorations, mostly to spruce up the steampunk vibe to the next level, including all these windmills to the side, as well as the water wheels that are supposed to symbolize some cogs on the side to really drive home that steampunk feel. But as I said, definitely optional, definitely not necessary, just a way for me to express my full vision of the steampunk's vibes for this build. But yeah, this build does pretty much include everything that I think you should need. You have a big crafting and storage room on one side, as well as some cozy other rooms that you can decorate to your heart's content. You have plenty of good spots to park your flyers or even your Zeppelin, and you have a breeding part of the build in the tower. We have one layer dedicated to all your taming needs and breeding needs and hatching needs. Then we have a place for our getchas to provide us with some much wanted materials, as well as our owl library where we can park some of our flyers, as well as store our blueprints in. And of course, we have a lookout post right at the top of the tower as well to enjoy the views or to check whether our naughty tribe mates are up to no good. The steampunk base is located right here on the map. So here we are with the steampunk base. I really like this one. It's in a very nice spot here as well in the sanctuary, and we have basically two parts to the build: the breeding tower or the dino tower, as well as the main steampunk build. But I'm very happy with the way this one turned out. We have a forge out here, some of our creatures on these landing platforms. Of course, I did spruce it up with some of the decorations overall. And then we have our Tesla coils here as defense mechanisms. We have the main crafting room inside here, as well as some storage along the sides. We have a very small greenhouse, which isn't actually a greenhouse, but it is what we utilize as a greenhouse in this case. On the back there, we can of course go upstairs as well to explore this. We have a little bit of crafting room and a little bit more storage. We have the kitchen here on the other side as well, utilizing every little bit of space. Then we have a little nice lounge room here in the middle for the steampunk vibes. And then if we go upstairs, we have another one of those extra rooms that I just decorated in the steampunk vibes. But yeah, you can of course utilize this in any way you want or need. And then upstairs we have the bedroom with what you might expect there. A little bit of personal storage, your bed, even a tech sleeping pod as well, and a cryo fridge, of course. Then if we make our way back down into the first layer, if I can find my way, there we go. We actually have the connection, of course, to the second part of the build, which is the tower. We have a nice walkway all the way around it, as well as staircases to get up and off this place. But then in here, we have our first little breeding area, basically. We have hatching areas, we have cryo fridges around, the embryo and gene stuff that you might expect. And yeah, nice access on all sides by the dino gates. And then if we take the stairs, we come to the getcha area. So we have another little layer here. We've got plenty of hay around and our getchas that can provide us some resources. Then if we take the stairs up, we come to the Snow Owl Library. We have a bunch of libraries here, a little place to read and hang out. But more importantly, we've got access to the walkways all the way around with our owls or other flyers, whatever you want, so you can easily access those and fly off to your next adventure. And we also have a ladder right there in the middle, so that if you wanted to, you could make it all the way up top to the top of the tower and enjoy the most incredible views of the surrounding area. So there we go. That is my full final steampunk base. And that's it. That's all my builds on Extinction so far. I hope you really enjoyed them. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, of course. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you want to see any of these builds in more detail, there should be full tours for pretty much all of these builds, as well as tutorials how to build them if you want to build any of these bases yourself. As always, thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you in the next video or stream. For now, goodbye.